This is Blair, your cancer care bear. No hair, don't care. All faith, no fear. And you are now in the Blair podcast. Welcome to the vibe. I am worn from my groaning. Psalm 6:6. That is today's daily bread. And that really moved me to share something with you all today. Blessed ones. On this Saturday. This is very personal. And when I read that, I read again Psalm 6:6. I am worn out from my groaning. And I'll also read another passage from this daily bread where it said, the fact that such raw honesty is included in the inspired songs of the scriptures gives us great encouragement. It invites us to bring our fears to God, who welcomes us into his presence for comfort and help. He embraces us in our heartfelt honesty. Music can give us the ability to express our feelings when words are hard to come by, but whether that expression is sung, prayed, or silently cried, our God reaches into the deepest places in our hearts and gives us his peace. Question: how would you characterize your prayer life? How does it make you feel to realize that God himself allows you to come into his presence just as you are? And the reason why I wanted to share this with you all today is because being myself, being in the Blair podcast, it means being transparent, being open, honest, truthful, and unapologetically yourself. Like I always say before, this is not just my podcast, but this is a podcast for the people, from the people. Whether it was asked for or not, I know there are people out here, those people listening, those people learning, and those people just living that don't have no one to really depend on, that don't really have the courage to really speak out or speak up. It was very much vital for me to come up here on this episode today and talk with you. I can't stress this enough. Me being a God guy, me being what I like to think of myself as an artist. I write, I produce, I do everything myself pretty much as far as in the media entertainment field. Like I said, I do a lot of experimenting with with my interests, I guess you could say. Again, I don't have any trades that I had learned throughout my whole adulthood. There's a couple things that I kind of like. There's a few jobs that I had that consist of, building, problem solving, customer service, construction, things like that. And then, of course, me, my passion being, writing, throughout from probably for the last, over 15 years now. I've been, I would write songs, raps, love songs or whatnot. And even before then, like even in my adolescent years, childhood years, I would be into poetry. And let me share this one more time with you. Music can give us the ability to express our feelings when words are hard to come by. But whether that expression is sung, prayed, or silently cried, our God reaches into the deepest place in our heart and gives us his peace. So the question that was posed was, how would you characterize your prayer life? And I pose that to everyone listening. I know a lot of people who are prayer warriors, a lot of people who are not religious, a lot of people who not Christian, whatever, but they do stand on some type of foundation that is pretty much consists of God, a supernatural powers. Not whether it's prayer, whether it's hope, whether it's work. We have the ability to do things and believe things based on things that we can't always guarantee that we will have. Meaning that we work and we believe that work will pay off. Again, I talk about transparency. My prayer life is active, consistent. And then the second part of the question is, how does it make you feel to realize that God Himself allows you to come into His presence just as you are? And that is one of the biggest questions that we have to ask ourselves, because the world is changing to a sense where, even though this is still a patriarchic society, a patriarchic world, it seems like we are straying more and more away from traditional beliefs and faiths. And that was one of the biggest struggles for me that I would have. Because, like, I'm big on trying to do things the right way, trying to make wise decisions, trying to be right and correct. Like, so I want to be very careful on how I do things and how I say things, because me personally, as a genuine giving individual, I care about people's feelings. I care about how I sound, because it is sometimes often hard to articulate thoughts. And I don't think it even has anything to, and again, like I said, we live in a world where it's like so politically correct, and then everything's kind of like so traditionally like where literacy, where you have to talk a certain way, look a certain way, walk a certain way, and then now it's drifting where it's okay to be openly gay. It is okay to you know be like an entrepreneur. It's okay to you know do certain things that probably wasn't okay like 50 years ago, or 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm 33, so I always go back to this thought. And again, I want, like I said, I want to share this, because I'm gonna get to my point. You know, I have I stand on certain principles, right? However, sometimes those principles that I stand on conflict with my personality. And what I mean is that I'm a introvert extrovert, which will be a blend of ambivert, meaning that I don't mind talking, I don't mind socializing. I'm not much of a people person, but I like meeting new people. I like getting insight, different perspectives, right? That's kind of like my personality. I'm like real low key, quiet, shy. But once I get comfortable around you, I'm just like, hey. But I'm not scared to ask questions. I'm not scared to learn and get as much information as I can. However, my principles is never let anyone make you feel unworthy. You know, we all have a uniqueness, and we're not for everyone. And Some may feel like it's philosophy, some may feel like it's opinionated, but the truth of the matter is this. I know God is real. And and it's a lot of things that I think about, and I be like, how do we know what we're doing is correct, or what determines our you know way of living or lifestyle or whatnot? What determines that? And I say, well, we have a Bible, which is, again, I mean, there's different doctrines that may have came before, and there's different doctrines that may have came after. But we have a certain upbringing. We have certain life experiences that guides us and leads us to where we should be and where we want to be. But it goes again to having that foundation, which was brought, which was that was reassured by, a brother of mine, where he talked to me about, like, me being open minded, right? Me being very open minded will just continue to lead to like more questioning, and it's just going to be like a never ending thing. And in all honesty, he's right, because I think the fact that we do have questions and the fact that we are curious, there's nothing wrong with that. However, we have to have a foundation, meaning that we have to have principles. We have to stand on something. Now, we have to work out our own salvation. But like, to me, it feels good that I can come to God, because, again, like it's talking about patriarchy now, we generalize God as a he, and of course we know the reality of things, where mothers are the women are the mothers of the earth, and they're the ones who carry the child and stuff, and Mary carried Jesus, da, da, da. But the bottom line is this: God knows you. The Creator who created you, who put your life in motion, who is the enabler of life and humanity, God, He knows you. However, sometimes we think we know ourselves, but we don't. We have an idea, and we know, certain things that we believe and certain things that we stand on, but nothing tells you more than who you are than when you actually have to stand on that and live by that and go on that. And for me to, I can be vulnerable with God, I can be honest and open with God, like I can really be transparent. And of course, certain things, we want to keep to ourselves. We don't want to always have to, broadcast, things on social media or tell like strangers. But I try to be as transparent with my peers, with people in my circle, as much as I'm open with God. I am worn out from my groaning. meaning that the pain, the adversities, everything that I go through physically and mentally that nobody knows about. It gets painful sometimes because again we all have our troubles. And I say this a lot. I mention a very special friend of mine this a lot because she kind of opened my eyes with certain things as well when it comes to really being you know when you want to vent, like when we're talking to our loved ones or people that we trust and care about, we vent, and a lot of times we oftentimes do it just so gracefully and openly and naturally. We don't really consider asking them if it's okay to do that. Or maybe I'm just speaking. Maybe I'll just speak for myself because that's something that I was so used to doing. But it was brought to my attention like sometimes we have to really take care of those people that mean the most to us because they go through things as well. And that's one of those things where it's like it's so insensitive to say that, but it's true because it's just imagine like hey, you want to be the best friend that you can be, but you got your own stuff going on. You want to be the best parent that you can be, but you got your own stuff going on. Because I'm gonna tell you this: as a parent, life don't stop. Just because I have a child, my life doesn't stop. My son, like again, he's a priority, but that doesn't mean that I have to, you know, stop what, stop, working, stop, making sure that I'm taken care of, make sure that I have, things that I do because I'm gonna tell you this, it's the same thing. If you're not good, your child's not good. If you're not in a right state of mind, those people around you will not be right state of mind. Energy never dies, and that's where I correlate with music because I listen to different type of music, and sometimes music is my escape. I can be listening to rap. That's the energy. Some songs makes me just wanna, rap. Some songs makes me wanna write. Some songs make me wanna, be ratchet, and that might be the type of song that I probably might need to not listen to. But then there's R&B. Some of them make me want to dance. Some of them make me want to get a girlfriend. Some of them make me want to text an ex or something. And then we have, other genres of music like pop and EDM and country rock, like all these songs, all this music, Christian gospel, all that stuff. And another quote from one of my favorite rappers, retired media personality podcaster Joe Budden: music is just what feelings sound like. Music to a lot of people is our God. Whether you're just a consumer, whether you're a creator, music is just what feelings sound like. So when you're listening to music, when you're consuming or releasing music, you have this vulnerability to be yourself, be free, and to really just escape the reality of your struggles, of your groaning. I am worn out from my groaning. It hurts sometimes to be in despair and be in pain. I'm an example. You know, I was so tired last night. I went to my brother's house and I done fell asleep. My eyes was hurting. Couldn't keep them open. Had to drive home. I did laundry. Like, and that comes from, just a lot. Work, life, home, everything. Some may call it complaining when we express ourselves, and maybe it could be. Some might call it explaining, or some just call it, hey, just being this way. But however you receive this message, which is being vulnerable, being able to go to your higher power and be vulnerable. It is a blessing. Blessings. You know, I was told right by I was told right by my supervisor yesterday that I seem to not be wanted. I work in construction, right? And apparently I seem not to be, it seems as if I don't belong there. That's what was kind of explained to me, cuz I'm very much like, all right, what am I doing today? Am I going to just constantly do things? Like, I'm one who would take initiative, but because it's, when you work in a field like construction and just labor, and there's like mad supervisors. You did like the supervisor's there, the supervisor of the supervisor is there, the supervisor of the supervisor. Like, there's just, and then there's like a team lead. There's so many hats people wearing. People, everybody's a chief. It's like you don't know exactly where to report to, so you got to make sure you go there. And then, like, again, this was the immediate hire. So it was like, man, I don't. I mean, sure, I don't. I'll be honest. I don't belong there. I don't have a belonging anywhere. Only place I belong is the places that I would want to be. So sometimes there could be a little discouragement there when someone say that to you. It was discouraging a little bit because I'm like, well, dang, it's like yet another job that's just kind of poster, kind of like just keep some money in my pocket or whatever. But it's not something that is like ideal passion, so it's just like whatever. But it's a lot. It's a lot of hard work. We have, like I said, we live in it's a new day now. These are not the days where men are the only ones working anymore. These are not days where men are like the head of the table anymore. This is not the days where patriarchy isn't even. It's still like there, but this is a new day and age. It's a new generation. You know, the generation that my parents, my grandparents didn't live in. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the traditions are different now, and I mean ain't nothing wrong with that, but it goes back again to like that foundation. I think a lot of us, especially in my age range, like I'm 33, so like people like maybe like 40 and down, like 40 to maybe like 28 or something. We still had that foundation of church, and there's certain things that we have to do, but like I said, to each his own. But I just want to give y'all something really to think about, is like the foundation that you stand on. You know, we have to have a foundation. We have to have it. How important is your relationships? Do you have a trust system with your higher power? Do you have a higher power? Music, when music is, like I said, an escape. I know for a lot of people, even if you don't listen to like the most popular music, like I'm sure we all listen to music and we all have a preference. We all have artists that we resonate with the most. We all have the type of genre that we love listening to. Like I said, God, our creator, he gave us vulnerability. The devil is a lie. And oftentimes, he will try us because of those hardships, because of the groaning. You can be in pain and you can pray, and it might not go away, and then you will think that God is maybe not listening, or maybe the devil is just playing with you. And I'm going to tell you firsthand, the devil's purpose, God permits. So sometimes it's just about being strong, because we got to remember this one thing: all faith and no work is dead, and a man who works is a man who eats. And though it is in scripture, it is not exclusive to scripture. It is life, and that is the thing. The Bible, the Word of God, is a story, and it's prophecy. It's nonfiction. Some may not believe that, but again, you got to work out your own salvation. We got to live to the beat of our own drum. And God gave us instructions. But like I said, we have to stand have to have a foundation. And I just wanted to come up, like I said, I wanted to come and share that, because it was just a thought. Something that I thought was very important. I wanted to give y'all some more insight on who I was, who I am. Like I said, I didn't finish college. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't get a certification trade or anything. I've been working 9 to 5. I've been doing independent contracting jobs like for my whole adulthood. So I do believe that one day I won't have to worry about the hardships of work and just the egos and prides of other men and the insecurities of other people in my life or around me, I should say. I do believe there is a happy ending as far as my story is concerned and your story, because like I said again, we are different but we are the same. And and what makes us different is we are our own individuals with our own different paths. But what makes us the same is we all have something that we are worn from. So, blessed ones, just in closing, I do encourage you all to stay safe, stay positive, stay productive, and stay prosperous. Because at the end of the day, when the lights go out and it's just you and your head and your heart, that is where God is. And whether you receive Him or not, just remember you got Him. And you can be you. And I'm out. Blair.